Maybe you aren't the new person, but maybe you're helping someone who is. This is just going to be some really easy stuff that you can encourage other people to do. A lot of this can be found in the quick start guide that we have under the guide button right on the main website. And it's a 4-page deal, and it has everything you need to know. So anyway, there we go. First thing you want to do, number one, is create a new Gmail address. I have found that there's a lot of emails associated with ham radio, and you don't want to mix that life with your other life. It just gets messy. Yeah. And so create a Gmail with your call sign. It makes it so easy for everybody to find you and reach you and get you and all that. So all you got to do,
Proton Mail and a lot of other free services.
It doesn't have to be Gmail. As a matter of fact, I'm not recommending G or government mail, whatever you want to call it. I'm not recommending it, but it's what I use. It's the simplest. It works really well. There's others that work equally as well. Yeah. Number two, sign up for the Southwest Florida Tech Net newsletter, which I think everybody here has probably already done. Yeah. That goes out every Friday. You guys should have all gotten yours this morning. The next thing, number three, go to QRZ and establish your page. I went to the 15 closest hams to me in my neighborhood, and out of the 15, only one of them had an email address listed in QRZ.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is just crazy. How do you even get a hold of these? I'm going to have to paper and a stamp. I mean, how 1990? So please go on and do QRZ. QRZ is probably my favorite website when it comes to just an overall free web service for everything. And it does a lot of different things. One of the biggest things it does is it provides you with a bio page that's actually fairly easy to edit. You don't have to be a web editor to edit it. It's fairly easy. You can figure it out. If you need help on that, I'd be glad to help you. I can edit something up real quick. But anyway, it shows your picture. It shows the awards you've won with your logbook, and I'll show you that in a minute. And you can also be an XML data subscriber for like $20 a year for the price of a cup of coffee. You can have it automatically send your records back and forth to Logbook of the World and everything. It takes care of everything for you. That's what XML subscriber means. And then your email address will show right here. And that's so important so that people can get a hold of you. So just do, if you haven't done it, even if you've been doing this a while and you don't want to use QRZ for anything at all, please just go and put your email address, if nothing else, so people can find you. Then the next thing, create your logbook. I think it pretty much makes you one automatically. I think you just go into it and it's like, oh, okay, here's your logbook. Log your first contact. You know what? I mean, I'm going to tell you something you can do. If you want to log a few contacts, on Thursday night, we have the Cape Coral Gab Fest. It's a simplex net. Everybody you talk to on that net, you can log down as a contact. Anytime you make a simplex contact, you can log it down. Okay, so or a contact by bouncing off the moon or through a satellite, those all count too. If it goes through the internet or through a repeater, it does not count. Okay, but you want to start your logbook. I find a lot of guys have been doing this a year now, and they haven't got the first line in their logbook. You got to start your logbook. I'm almost at 10,000. My goal is to reach 10,000 by the end of the year. And thanks to that little contest the other day, which I'll tell you guys about, was fun. There was an FT8 contest last weekend. And it was the, I don't even know what it was called, but it was some contest last weekend. And it was for, it was just FT8 and FT4 was all it was. And I went to the frequencies that it said to go to, and I went to WSJTX and changed it to where it sent them 599 FL instead of whatever else it normally sent. And I made 188 contacts and I only did it for about 4 hours. So
Wow.
it was a great way to make contacts. But you know what the neatest thing was? It was a bunch of clubs and a bunch of people you don't normally see. So almost every line that came up was a bright color, and I was like just snatching people up. It was fun. So it was a great way to get a lot of contacts. And you don't even have to turn your log in if you don't want to. You know, it's no big deal. You're just doing it for contacts. I do contests for contacts. So there you go. So definitely start your log book. You'll regret it 5 years from now when you're trying to get it going, and it's like, I could have been logging all this stuff down. It's real easy to log stuff. I'm not going to go through it tonight. That's not the purpose for tonight, but I'd be glad to do it sometime with you guys or later on if you want. The next thing, this is something a lot of you older guys that listen to me, you old fogies, I'm sorry. You know what I mean. The guys that have been around a while. For those of you who've been around a while, for those of you who I didn't just offend the crap out of, you may not have even thought about this, but there's some really good podcasts out there. There's some really, really good amateur radio podcasts. I've listened to the HRCC one. I've listened to that guy. He's good. I've listened to 3 or 4 of these. There's some. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna give you guys a little behind the curtains into my life. I have ADD. I know that probably surprises the crap out of everybody, doesn't it? I have ADD so bad that I get bored in the shower. So I listen to podcasts in the shower. That's what I do. I take my phone, I sit it next to the shower, and I put on a podcast. And I'll just search podcasts, and I'll look up Blvd, or I'll look up, Build a Ham Clock, or whatever I'm doing. And I'll find a podcast that talks about what I'm wanting to do, and I'll listen to that while I'm in the shower, while I'm taking a dump, and then driving to work. And by the time I get to work, I know how to do it. So I'm just putting it out there for you guys that this is a great way to pick up knowledge and do it in time that you might have been wasting anyway. I mean, the shower is basically a waste other than you're getting clean. So I mean, let's multitask a little bit. So I like when I travel, I can't just travel in the car. I have to listen to talk radio, or I have to put on a podcast or something. They really frown upon you watching YouTube when you're driving, so I try to keep it to like a podcast or something. Because it's safer. It's so much safer that way. But anyway, so a podcast, guys, try it out. Just type in podcast. There's several podcast apps that are free that will aggregate them for you and have them available for you on your phone, or you can literally just search them out and play them right off of their own pages or whatever. But there's some really cool ones out there. All right, number 6, download, sign up for, and use Echolink. Echolink is an amazing thing. You may not even have your first radio yet. You could be talking on nets tonight. You could be talking on nets, checking in on nets. This is a really cool thing. It turns your phone into a 2-way radio. I think it's really cool. There's also, what's the other one? All-Star. There's 2 different ones. I'm not promoting one or the other. It's just this is the easier one to get started with.
Well, Echolink is the only one that you can easily just install the app on your phone or computer and start talking into repeaters. All-Star isn't really like that. Yeah, Echolink is really the only thing where you're supposed to be able to use it on a computer.
Yeah, so this is what you want to use. This is a great little program. The only thing people always get screwed up on is you don't hold it down to transmit. You tap it to start transmitting, and you tap it to end transmitting. That's the one thing everybody gets wrong on there because it's stupid the way it's set up. Okay, so there you go. Other than that, you'll do fine. Okay. Any questions so far? All right. The next thing I recommend, number 7, buy an inexpensive radio. Do not go buy a $500 Yazoo, the one with the coffee maker in the back and all that. Don't go buy one of those fancy radios right off the bat. Buy you a Baofeng. That way, if you blow it up, screw it up, program it up, mess it up, drop it off, drop it up, mess it down, it won't matter because it's a $40 radio. It doesn't matter. If you want to go a little better, if you've got a little more money, not like me, the one on the right is the one I carry around every day with me. It is an amazing radio. There it is right there. An absolutely amazing radio. I bought this radio. Actually, the one I just showed you is my repeater radio. This is it right here. This radio, I bought this radio off of Amazon about 15 months ago, and I have carried it with me on my side or in my bag everywhere I've gone. Whether I'm camping, whether I'm at work, wherever I'm at, this radio, I got a holder for it in the van. I got a mic for it so I can talk on it while I'm going down the road. It works really great. It's that one you see on the right there, the UV8000D. I don't make a lot of recommendations on products, okay? But I make a recommendation on this particular product. If you're going to buy a Chinese radio, you can spend the extra few dollars. This one comes with the programming cable. Okay, if you buy the cheap valve thing, that doesn't come with a programming cable, so that's $9 more or $12 more right there. So you're already halfway there. You're at 35. We're over here. We're at 80. So I mean, you're almost halfway there by the time you buy your programming cable. So I would just buy this. It has the larger battery. It can't take the extended batteries like the other one, but you don't need it. This battery lasts a long time. Here's the other thing. It's a 10-watt radio. Now, it's Chinese, so you have to use the Chinese conversion scale. So it's a 7-watt radio when it's all said and done. About 7.25 watts is what I get out of it. This is a great radio. So I suggest buying a cheap Chinese radio and having fun with it. And you can get those right off of Amazon, or you can get them from any of your amateur radio shops. Have them. Also, this one for $80 comes with the long antenna already. That saves you $12. The cable saves you $12. So you're already, like I said, you're already halfway home. Okay. Any questions on any of that? I'm sorry, guys. I've become a professional with these Chinese radios. I've got 9 Chinese portables right now of varying kinds, different bands. I've got one that makes toast. Yeah. Okay. The next thing you need to do is download Chirp. If you have an expensive radio, a Yaesu, or a Yazoo, or if you have an ICOM or something like that, or a Kenwood, you need to check before you use this program. If you have any Chinese radio at all, this is the program you want to use. It works really well. The only piece of advice I give you on this radio, on this piece of equipment when you download it, do not ever take a code plug and blow it straight into your radio. You always download your radio first into the computer. Then save that image. First thing I do when I get a radio is I plug it in, upload it into the computer, and then I save that image as factory image and the number for that radio. So I have that factory image. So later on, if I get it screwed up, I can go back and get that factory image and blow it back in there and start from scratch. You take the thing, you download the code plug out of it, into the radio, into the computer. Now you can see what's in the radio. It comes with some stupid channels programmed into it that mean nothing. That's when you then download my program that you get from me that has all the channels already in it, and you just copy and paste. You can select the top one, hold down the shift button and select the bottom one, right click copy, right click paste, and then blow it back into the radio and you're done. But the point is you're blowing the same image you just took out of the radio back in. You've just added channel data to it.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? It's so important to understand what I'm saying right now. You can't just take my code plug program and blow it into your Baofeng. It will lock it up. It'll brick it.
Yeah.
It'll brickify it.
Yeah. It'll be useless.
Okay, so, but other than that, Chirp and Joseph and I, again, either one would be glad to help anybody with this programming software.
Yeah.
The next thing, work with SSTV. I have found this to be really fun. I leave this on all the time. I do it with the space station flies over sometimes and they're sending out pictures. And I stand in my parking lot at work with my tablet and my radio, and I'm standing there and my people at work are walking by going, "What are you doing?" I'm receiving pictures from the International Space Station. They walk in and they go, "That guy is really nuts. There's something wrong with him. He's out there talking to the space station." But literally, I'm out there receiving. My tablet has the program that you see on the far left. It has the program in it. It's just an app, a free app. And then I got my radio on the VHF frequency. Yeah, my cheap $40 Baofeng. And I hold it up to the microphone and it's going bleep, 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 bleep. And next thing, if I do that, it'll actually make a picture. You want to try it? But what'll end up happening is you'll actually see a picture start to form that's coming down from the International Space Station.
I actually had that happen one time.
Yeah, it's really cool. What, you went blah 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 and made a picture?
No, that would probably brick the phone.
But anyway, I love SSTV. I call it ham facts. Because that's what it is. It's not TV.
No.
It's facts.
Well, it's slow scan TV.
Real slow.
1 frame per few minutes.
But anyway, if you haven't tried this, try this. On Thursday nights, there's a net, and you don't even have to check in or anything. Just turn the net on, put your phone up to the radio, and while the net's going on, they'll start sending pictures back and forth over the repeater, and you'll see it. The pictures will come on your phone. You'll see it. You'll be receiving it right off the phone to the microphone in your speaker, right off the radio to the microphone in your speaker. I just think this is really cool. And it's like hams that have been doing this 10 years that have never messed with it. It's like, come on, this is so fun. Anyway, all right. Next thing, monitor ham radio when you travel. I have found that a lot of people monitor the 2-meter call channel or the 520, whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of people. You'll see these kind of bumper stickers like you see here. There's also the oval. I didn't put one on here, but there's an oval that just says 146.52. And if you see that, what it means is he's monitoring the 2-meter call channel. Give him a call. When I'm traveling, I always have my big antenna. This last time I traveled, I had the big antenna on top of my big 5/8 wave Ringo dealy do. And every time I drive by, I'd see some guy with antennas on his truck, and I get on there. KO4 EFS 2-meter call channel on frequency listening northbound 75. And they come back, yeah, KO4 EFS. I say, yeah, you're the guy with the Harleys in the trailer. Yeah, that's me. And we'll sit there and we'll BS for 20 minutes while we're going down the road. And I've made some really fun QSOs. I've sat in traffic and bitched about the traffic we're sitting in for 40 minutes too on the radio with somebody. So it's pretty fun. So don't discount your rate, especially if you have a nice mobile. Don't just turn it off once you get out of range of your repeaters. Put it on the 560 and just leave it on, or the 520 and just leave it on. And then if you get in traffic or if something's going on or you see smoke or whatever, get on there and call. You believe it or not. Or if someone passes you with antennas or a 520 bumper sticker, you'll see a sticker that's round. It'll just say 520. That means
I gotta say, after coming here to Huntsville, I've heard more activity on the 520 than I've heard on the local repeaters. It's incredibly popular down here. You get in the car, turn it on, you'll hear people talking almost immediately. There's actually people running like amplifiers and stuff in their car with higher output power on 2 meter. You pick up that mic and call, you're guaranteed to get somebody to answer you back within a few minutes. It's pretty amazing. Coming from Fort Myers where no one's ever on there. So yeah, it's very popular in certain areas and completely dead in other areas.
I agree. When I go up to the mountains, I hear people on 520 all the time. I answer POTA calls up there a lot on 520. And it's funny because what I do is I got my big, huge antenna with my 4 magnets on top of my car. And I just got a low loss extension cable, a 25-footer that I run out the floor of the cabin. And it just runs out there and spools up. And then when I back the car in, I take it out there, run it inside the door, and hook it up to the antenna inside the car. And it's got an alligator clamp that alligator clamps to the frame, so I get a good ground. And I literally use the car as my ground plane with it sitting out in the driveway of my cabin. And it works, man. 40 miles, no problem up there in the mountains. So really cool. But yeah, I don't know why the 2-meter call channel is not used around here. I don't get it either. I don't. I will say though, I scan it, and early in the morning there is guys that'll come on and start talking about on it, but they're generally in the middle of the state, and I'm just picking them up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What happens if you leave it on overnight?
There's a lot of guys down in Golden Gate and Naples that use it, and they use it kind of like a DX hunting net. But usually in the morning, like you say, if you're hearing somebody in the morning, that's probably them down in Golden Gate. There's about 10 guys that get on there.
Could be the 2 or 3 guys I've been hearing the last couple of weeks have been up around Lake Okeechobee, up in Moorhaven and up in that area. So, yeah, I don't know. Who knows? I hear different people on there at different times. I try to monitor it. I answer it. I had a QSO with a guy about 3 weeks ago. We talked for 20 minutes on there. I even stopped a couple times and asked if anybody was else needed to use the frequency because we were on the call channel. But nobody ever is. Anyway, so there you go. All right, the next thing, build your first simple dipole antenna. I cannot recommend this harder. I don't care if you've been doing this 6 months or 6 decades. If you haven't built your first antenna, go cut a wire off of something that doesn't work and build your first antenna. You can literally take an old roof mount antenna or an old magnet mount or anything with an old pigtail on it and cut it off, tray it out, 2 coat hangers and a piece of wood, and you've made your first antenna.
The old coat hanger wire 2-meter ground plane.
Yep. Yeah, you can make a ground plane too. The only reason I recommend the dipole as your first antenna, not that it works better than a ground plane. I think they both have their advantages. This one just tends to be the absolute easiest freaking thing to make in the whole world.
Oh, yeah.
It's just 2 things. This is just so simple. And so I recommend everybody this weekend that hasn't made your own antenna, make one of these and call us up on one of the 2-meter channels this weekend and let us know you're talking on your new antenna. There's a satisfaction to talking on an antenna that you built. And I'm sure that I would like to have felt what the old guys with the Heath kits 50 years ago would feel when they put the radio together and they warmed those tubes up for the first time and feel the warmth coming off that case for the first time. I can only imagine. And getting your first QSO on a radio that you built, I can just see how exciting that would be. And even though we're not probably ever going to get that thrill, the antenna can get you halfway there. You build a really good antenna. I mean, when I built my first double Yeagis and talked to Verna at 60 miles away, I was like, yes.
Oh man, when I built that, it was the same when I built that. Spent a week and a half making that giant Yagi, and I pointed at Miami and I'm like, please work, please work, please work, and I key up and the repeater comes back. I'm like, yes. Whoa. That was awesome.
Well,
it's clicking for me.
That's like when I used my 40 meter in-fed half wave and talked to a guy in New Zealand on 10 meters.
Wow.
Yeah.
or the
That was my
ionosphere
recent
was
contest.
helping you out.
Yeah.
The next thing I would do, number 12, is buy your first SDR. And I recommend that the cheapest one right now is the RTL SDR.
Yeah,
And
well,
I again, I'm one of these people that I try not to. I had one right here. I don't know what happened to it. I try not to make a whole lot of hard recommendations. I try not to be the guy that's. I recommend this product and this product because I'm not commercial. I don't make money on any of this. But I can honestly tell you, for the cheap SDR, and this is the cheap one, you can see right there, $39. That's on Amazon. That's shipped 24 hours. That one right there, I've had over here doing aircraft now for what, Joseph? 4 months, 5 months?
Yeah, about that.
It's on every 24/7, 365. It's never turned off. It's on a battery backup. It's never hiccup the day. I got another one over here that's scanning amateur radio channels. I've bought a third one that we're going to be using for some other stuff. I have 3 of them now. I cannot recommend this highly enough. Now, if you're buying it to listen to low band, like 40 meters, you're going to be a little disappointed. It doesn't work as well on the low band. But Joseph has a solution for that. Joseph, don't you?
Hold on, what?
An up converter?
Yeah, so
yeah.
if you go into like Ian was saying, the dongle, if you try and tune down there, you can put it in direct sample mode, but it won't be as sensitive, so signals will just be weaker than they would with a normal shortwave receiver. So for about $50-$60, you can get a up converter, which will take your HF signals and up convert them by about 120 megahertz, which will place them in the range of the dongle's normal sampling mode. So you go into your software then and you sell it to put an offset in so that it displays, 7 megahertz or whatever when it's actually tuned to 127 megahertz. And these up converters are really good. They can go down really low. The one I have goes down to like 500 hertz, I think. It goes really, really low.
Wow.
And it goes up to, I think 6 meters is its upper limit. But the dongle can go to 6 meter by itself anyway. So there's some overlap there. But it can go really, really low. And it's fantastic. I've had one of these. I've been running it up here for about 2 years now, and it's never let me down. It whenever you switch between the two to actually see if there's a difference, there is a remarkable difference. Those dongles they're usable on by themselves, but the up converter really just makes it worth your time. So yeah, they're great. They're about $60. New Elec makes them. They're called Hammett up converters. And they have like a pass-through mode as well, where you can flip a switch and it'll pass through without up converting if you want to do that. So yeah, they're really good.
Yeah, so basically this thing takes the signal and moves it up into an area where this thing does really well. So for under $100, you can have you a really nice receiver system. I strongly recommend this. You can use this for anything. Let's say you've got an old computer hanging around that you're not using. You can throw this in there. There's a scanner program you can put in there, and it will sit there and scan frequencies like a scanner. You can get, let me tell you something that's really cool. You can get 2 of these, and you can scan the Lee County's 900 megahertz trunking system. One monitors the control channel, and one actually goes and grabs the sound, the digital sound, and converts it. What a really cool thing. These things can do everything. They can receive any kind of signal. You can receive SSTV on these, and your computer can show you the pictures that are coming in. So whatever you want to listen to, whatever you want to do, you can receive FT8 on this and actually feed it into your computer using the virtual cable, and actually sit there and watch it decode. You could take this and listen to CW, feed it into a CW decoding program, and actually let it sit there and decode CW for you. So this is a really cool thing, especially for new hams that don't have their first big rig yet. This gives you the ability to go out and start monitoring some more stuff. But when you do get this, there's one thing you have to do. You have to hit this little gear, and you have to turn up the gain or whatever. What is it? The whatever.
Probably the RF gain.
Yeah, the RF gain. You want to go in there and turn that up. You don't do that.
Otherwise,
It
you'll
just
think you'll have a dead receiver. I remember.
yeah,
you
because
saying
I bought when I first bought it, I threw it in a drawer and thought it was crap. And then Joseph goes, "Well, you did turn that thing up, right?" I'm like, "What thing?" I literally dug it out of a drawer and gave it to him. I'm like, "Here, this is broke. See if you can get it working." He goes, "There's nothing wrong with this. You just had to turn the thing up."
you know this.
Yeah, it shouldn't be the default 0. 0 should not be the default.
That's kind of dumb.
All right. So the next thing you can do, number 13, get involved with radio nets. I'm surprised at how few people do radio nets. There is thousands of ham radio operators in this area. Thousands.
Yeah.
And there'll be 5 of us to check in on the net. I'm just very surprised. I didn't want to run through all of them, but I just wanted to give you guys a few of the good ones. This is the real good ones. These are the ones I recommend for newer hams. The Cape Coral Gab Fest here, that's a simplex net. That's that one I told you about. It's a great way to test your radios and stuff. Charles, KI4GED is a net controller on that. It's a great net. But all of these nets are great nets. So I just wanted to put that out there. Get involved on the radio nets. It makes a big difference, and it gives us all somebody to talk to. I try to make as many of these each week as I can. I made $1.25 this week, and I made the Cape Coral Gap Fest, and I made the Newbie net. So, and I made the Loggerhead, I think, this week too. So I did, I think, 4 out of 6 this week. All right, number 14, call out on repeaters. This is something I suggest. There is some guy that keeps coming on, and he comes on and he goes ba 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 WW1 WW WW1 WW. And every time he does that, I look up and I can't see what channel he's on because my radio's scanning. So I never answer him. But I hear him every day, like 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, well, I wish I knew what channel he was on. So what I recommend, and I'm a new ham, but what I recommend is KO4 EFS on frequency listening 685. Let me give you another hint that I do. I kerchunk the repeater first. Kerchunk. Beep 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 beep. Then I key up KO4 EFS on frequency listening on the 685. That way it gives you plenty of time to lock in your scanner, and we got all this beeping going on, and I'm talking for a while. That's how you get people to talk to you. If you're just calling out just your call sign, it's hard for some of us that use scanning equipment to find you. So just a suggestion. And remember, there is people in Lee County that are radio Karens, and they actually run egg timers and stopwatches on us on the radios, and they make us stink if we don't do what we're supposed to do. So
Radio Nazi.
Radio
Nazis,
Nazis, whatever you want to call them, frequency Karens, radio Nazis. They go to the same academy as the HOA bastards. So anyway, and then number 15, buy you a mobile radio antenna. They're cheap, but here's the thing: you can buy one of these, like this one right here. Baofeng makes one of these for $10. Comes with a little SMA on it. It's crap. It's worthless. You're better off with the factory radio that came on your radio. So I suggest that you spend $25 or $30 on your magnet mount. Don't buy a $10 magnet mount. I suggest picking one up in a ham swap or picking one up. Spend $40. Get you a decent magnet mount for 2 meter or for the 2 bands you want to use or whatever. but don't buy a $10 antenna, because you will get a $10 antenna. I'm telling you.
Get what you pay for.
You do. And glass mount. Jury's out. I have been told for years that glass mount antennas work just as good as any other antenna you're ever going to find. And I've always thought those people were probably smoking crack.
Yeah.
There's no way that something that has no physical contact can work just as good as something that does have physical contact. That being said, I've been told by a lot of people that these things work pretty well. So I'm just putting that out there. Glass mount is an option. I
They
don't
work
use them.
okay. Let's put it that way. But they're not.
Yeah. I just want to be honest. I don't think they're that good. I've been told they're great. I don't think they're that good. I think they're an option.
Yeah.
I don't think they're a great one, but I think they're definitely an option. If the wife won't let you drill holes and you can't do the trunk lid thing, you know, there's all kinds of places you can put antennas. I bought this big, huge 4 magnet thing that goes on my roof, and I can screw whatever antenna I want on it.